So let's talk about the game between Indiana versus Boston last night because that game was amazing to watch. There was a lot of ups and downs. Boston, again, the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter didn't execute enough, in my opinion, because I thought to myself as a Celtics fan, they were jacking up too many threes. They were slowing the game down. They didn't play with enough pace. Now, Jaylen Brown did clutch up, so he does deserve credit for that. As a Boston fan, I wasn't too surprised because these teams played each other very close during the regular season. Now, I know Boston did blow them out. It was really early in the season, and Halliburton didn't play in that game. So that's not a good game to judge them by. But during this game, Halliburton hit that buzzer three to end the first half, and then he hit the one in the third quarter. And I was like, man, Indiana is not going to go away. So you go to the fourth quarter. One of the things that I didn't like was Tatum's performance. He was 2 of 7 in the fourth quarter. He didn't score for over 9 minutes. That's a major concern for me because if he's going to be your best player, he's got to hit shots down the stretch. Relying on a 3-point shot in the fourth quarter just wasn't a good move, especially when early in the game he was driving, he was being aggressive, he was getting to the free throw line. He wasn't settling for the three. So I would like to see Tatum take his attempts from eight threes a game down to 5 to 6 a game because he's not Steph Curry. He's shooting 27% in the playoffs from three. I don't think he needs to be relying on that shot. It's not a good shot selection for him. But in overtime, he did score. Now, it did take him 4 minutes to finally get in the game. So you add another 4 minutes. That's what, 13 minutes of not scoring at all. Now, I know he impacted the game in other ways. He had a key steal, but he also had that turnover, which was really disgusting to watch. They were up to 121 to 120. Holiday goes to set a screen, and he just throws the ball away. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing here? There was a sequence, I believe Indiana was up 111, 110, and he shoots a pull-up three-point shot with like 3 minutes left. And I just thought to myself, what are you doing here? That's just bad shot selection. You see, the problem with Tatum, in my opinion, I think he gets lazy at times where, he has all his points, but he's not continuing to keep going. And he just settles and he makes it easier for the defense. If he was more aggressive in the fourth quarter, this narrative wouldn't be around where they say like Tatum's not clutch, he can't be a number one option. And those narratives to me are still kind of true. Now he does deserve credit for getting that and one layup and hitting that step back three to seal the game. However, it shouldn't take you 13 minutes to finally score a bucket. That's not a good look. Now, I know he did try to drive the ball. He missed that layup. He missed a fadeaway shot and then he intentionally fouled and Indiana turned the ball over. We'll get to that in a moment. But Tatum just has to be a little bit better, in my opinion. Now, I don't think the slander of Tatum is necessary. That's a bit much to me because, again, he did hit those shots, but it shouldn't have got that far at the same time. So I understand some of the criticism, yet he still hit the shots, so that should be praised as well. Let's just talk about the fourth quarter for Boston. Here's where I had the biggest problem, was their shot selection down the stretch. They attempted 6 threes from, I think it was 4 minutes left, down to a minute and a half. No penetration, no attempt at a layup or try to get a free throw or mid-range shot. I don't like that because when the game's still in the balance, you don't need a 3-point shot every time. I think that's bad shot selection. I think that could eventually kill them. And that's why I have the Timberwolves winning the championship because it's like Boston doesn't understand, hey, you have Jaylen Brown, you have Jayson Tatum, even Al Horford. I don't know why they choose to leave him on the perimeter. He should be down the post, getting more post shots. At least that's what I see out there. He used to do that before Missoula got there. So for me, Boston just needs to be a little bit better in the clutch because if they don't, they're not going to win the championship. I want to talk about Boston's defense because one of the glaring issues that Boston had all night long was not communicating on multiple screens Indiana was setting up. So there was a moment where I think it was Pascal Siakam. They set a screen and it was Holiday and Al Horford. And he didn't know if Al Horford was going to switch and Siakam got the easy layup. There was multiple times where Boston was not in the right position to be ready for those pick and roll actions, and they gave up easy layups. There was one time where Holiday was backpedaling very slowly, and McConnell was pushing the ball, and he handed it off to Nesmith, and Holiday is playing this drop coverage, and Nesmith gets an easy pull-up three. But if Holiday had sped back and made sure he was in a better position to pressure the ball, then that three might have not happened in the first place. So Boston just needs to be more intentional with what they do on defense. What I would do for matchups in game 2, put Tatum on Miles Turner, put Derek White on Nemhard, put Drew Holiday on Halliburton, put Jaylen Brown on Pascal Siakam, and put Al Horford on Aaron Nesmith. The reason why you shouldn't put Horford on Turner because Halliburton can just pick and roll with him all night long with Turner, and then Horford is left on an island. If you put him on Nesmith, at least you give him a better opportunity to switch. And Nesmith is not known as a guy who will roll to the basket all the time. And I would force Nesmith to make decisions. So that's why I would do that. If you switch Turner with Tatum involved, they can switch that action. So I think Boston should change that matchup as well, is just have your other forwards and wing and guards on these guys. That way it becomes harder for Indiana to run their offense. So did the Boston Celtics get lucky last night? It's been a question that's been argued back and forth. I would say you need luck to win games sometimes. So when that turnover happened with Pascal Siakam, Jaylen Brown did apply pressure, and it created that three-point shot for him to make. But let's just go down memory lane with the NBA. Look at the Spurs and Miami Heat in Game 6. The Spurs were supposed to close that series out. They have a 5-point lead. LeBron James comes to the other side of the court, hits a three. They actually missed it. They got an offensive rebound, so San Antonio couldn't corral that rebound. He makes a three. It's down to 2. They send Kawhi Leonard to the line. He splits the free throws. And then what happens? Ray Allen makes a shot. So let's not act like these things don't happen in the NBA. We can even look at the Sixers and Knicks series, where the Sixers had Game 2, and the Knicks applied pressure, and they ended up winning that game. You look at Game 5 against New York and Philly in that same series. Philly ends up stealing that game for the Knicks. So we have to stop acting like, oh, these teams get lucky. They're fortunate. Jaylen Brown saved Tatum's legacy. It's a team sport. Sometimes you're going to make mistakes down the stretch you don't mean to make. And that's just part of basketball. You got to execute. Are you going to ever be perfect? No, that's impossible. So when Indiana turns the ball over and Jaylen Brown makes that tough three-point shot, is that luck? Maybe. But you still have an opportunity to win in overtime. And Boston ended up taking it from them. Whether you like the fact it took Tatum 13 minutes to score, he ended up making the and one layup and making the three-point shot, and also making his 2 free throws to seal the game. So, again, you need some luck to win a title. People talk about, oh, it's been a Mickey Mouse run for the Boston Celtics. It's not the Celtics' fault who they play. They can't control what other teams do. I hear things like, oh, they're a super team, they're this. Well, I tell you what, get a better general manager to run your franchise. It's really that simple. If you want to be the best, tell your GM to get better players. I know that might hurt some feelings, but that's just facts. It's not like Boston went out and signed a Kevin Durant. They drafted Jayson Tatum. They drafted Jaylen Brown. They brought back Al Horford. They traded for Jrue Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis. You don't like it? Well, tell your GM to do better so you can be a contender. You need a good roster. I don't understand these discourses with fans where they're like, oh, Boston has all this talent. They should just win it all. And, they're lucky that Tatum has all these guys around him. You've always had talent on a roster. The 80s Lakers, the 80s Celtics, the 90s Bulls, the Miami Heat, when they had LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. I mean, it's not like teams haven't had a stacked roster before. And I don't think this team's a super team until they actually win a title. So, again, I don't get the discourse. Did Boston get lucky? Yeah, maybe. But here's how I think Game 2 is going to go. I think Boston's going to blow them out the water. I think Boston's going to go up 2-0. Indiana's going to go back to their home court. I think they're probably tied at 2-2, and then Boston will win Game 5 and Game 6, and then win in 6 games. And they will be looking back at this game like, oh, well, they're in the finals, and now they're 4 wins away from winning it all. That's just basketball. I don't know what to tell you. It's just very lazy analysis when I see fans say like, oh, they got all these great players, but then they complain about how their favorite player doesn't have enough help. That's just dumb to me. It doesn't make any sense. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. Love to hear your thoughts on what you think about the Celtics winning Game 1. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.